learn about voice modulation. Remember, to become a great speaker, you have to learn to notice things. So I want you all to notice what Erica does. Erica, I'd like you to read this inspirational quote to the room. Go ahead.
Okay. I've learned that people will forget what you have said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Very good. Now that's a normal reading. And if 100% was her total range, how much of your range do you think you just used?
Maybe 50?
More in the 5 to 15% range. To give you a baseline, 0% is like a robot. Read the first line, but just like a robot. Go ahead.
I've learned that people
No,
will
more like
forget.
a robot. Say, I've learned. Go ahead.
I've learned that
Oh, that was
people...
perfectly awful. Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
So that's 0% voice modulation.
Okay.
There's no change in the tone. Your tone is excellent, but when you stay in one tone is monotone. So what do we need to do? Modulate our voice. That means you get louder, you get softer. Talk really fast, and then really slow, and that change creates energy. So we're going to coach you through 3 different dimensions of voice modulation, and then put it all together, and you'll see something really cool. You ready?
Okay.
All right. First, we don't speak in sentences. What do we speak in? Anybody know?
Thoughts?
Word groups,
Okay.
thoughts, very small phrases. So what I'd like to do is have you put these in word groups. So you're going to circle words. I'll do the first couple for you. What words kind of fit together to make an idea or an image?
I've learned.
I've learned. Good. I would put that as its own words.
Okay. People
People
will forget
will forget. Good.
what you have
What you have
said.
said. Excellent. You're getting the hang of it. Now you do the rest.
Oh, okay.
Circle the ones you think fit together. Word groups almost never have more than 3 or 4. They can be as small as 1, but really short. They make a picture. Okay, keep going all the way to the end.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next thing we do is we use pauses to separate. A pause is a half a beat, or a beat is half a second. So when I say go, count 1001 with me. Ready? Go. 1001. That's 2 beats. Make sense? So we're going to put a pause for 1 beat. I've learned the 1 beat or 2 beats. We'll come back to pauses in a second. I would put 2 beats, so it's a full second.
Okay.
So we'll add those up. So the first dimension, we're going to do 3 dimensions. The first one is volume. Coach you on how to modulate the volume of your voice. We're going to do a fresh quote, make it a little bit more challenging. Ready?
Okay.
So this time, I want you to read the quote, but try to modulate the volume of your voice. Go.
Okay. When planning for a year, plant corn. When planning for a decade, plant trees. When planning for life, train and educate people.
Very good. Now, let's do our word groups real quickly. Let me do them for you just to make it a little bit simpler. The way you did it said, when planning for a year, plant corn.
Right.
When planning for a decade, plant trees. When planning for life, train and educate people is what you said, right? So when we want to get loud, in each word group, I want you to pick one word that you want to pop. So what would be the word group here?
Planning.
Planning. So we're going to go like this. We're going to get a little bit louder.
Okay.
And what other words do you want to pop out of the quote that you're going to get louder?
Corn or plant? Just one word or 2?
Pick kind of 1 or 2 or 3 where you're going to get louder.
Say plant trees.
Plant trees. Okay, you want a little bit of a rhythm here. Plant corn, plant trees.
Or for a decade. Decade?
For a decade. Okay, and then we
life.
need year.
Oh, year, decade,
Life.
and life.
Okay, read it again and get loud on those 4 words. Go.
When planning for a year, plant corn. When planning for a decade, plant trees. When planning for life, train and educate people.
Excellent. Now we're going to add 2 more dimensions. we often try to overcome the filters, overpower the filters with loudness, and that can be effective. But really you want to have it come from the diaphragm. So let's pick some other words that we really want to emphasize besides those four. What would they be? How about plant, because that's
Plant.
so we're going to make a square around those. I'll do it in blue to make it a little bit easier to see for you.
Okay.
So plant, plant, and why don't we say train?
Train.
Now put your hand on your belly. I'm going to count to 5. I want you guys to do it with me. And when we hit 5, I want you to express enough air that you feel your diaphragm move. So when I get me like that, diaphragm moves when I have air go out. So it's not just being loud, it's about making your diaphragm move. Make it on every number, but by the time we hit 5, you should hear it move every time. You ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sense? So when you hit the blue boxes, I want to make your diaphragm move. So you're loud on this ones, and these make your diaphragm. So you get when planning, plant. Ready?
Say it like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can put your hand there or not,
Okay.
just for practice. Ready? Go.
When planning for a year, plant corn. When planning for a decade, plant trees. When planning for life, train and educate people.
Very good. Now your arm. This one, is it broken? It doesn't work? I want this to help control your volume. The mind controls the body, but the body also helps influence the mind. So when you're getting louder, I want you to come up here. And we're going to add in the third dimension for volume, which is whisper. Most people think we have to get loud to get the attention of an audience. But the best way is to whisper. Why does whisper work?
Gets their attention.
Why does it get their attention?
Because they have to listen.
Very
hear you.
good. So when we get loud, we're trying to overcome the filters. But when we whisper, they drop their filters and come straight to us. So here's the key to whisper. You pick a phrase where you lean into the audience like you're telling them a secret. So what would be the secret to this quote? What's the aha moment, the punchline?
Educate people.
Let's do that. So let's put a wavy line here where we're going to whisper. So here's what I want you to do. Your arm's going to be moving. And here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to close your eyes when she speaks. Put your arm out. Everybody put your arm out. And your hand is going to move where her voice goes. So when she goes loud, she goes like this. When she does the oomph with the diaphragm, you go like that. And when she whispers, you go like that. Ready? So you're going to close your eyes. I'll do the same thing. Loud, diaphragm, lean in and whisper. Go.
Okay, and this is up for...
This is you're choreographing yourself.
Okay.
Go.
When planning for a year, plant corn. When planning for a decade, plant trees. When planning for life, train and educate people.
Very good. Now, how much of your volume dimension did she use that time? First time was 5 to 15%. Now she's up into the 30 to 40% range. Do you notice the difference?
Yeah.
So that's volume. That's the first dimension. Now we're going to switch into the second dimension. You ready?
Okay.
This time we're going to do speed. So let's do our word groups. The more you do this, the more they happen in your mind without even thinking. How would you do this? I guess it helps to read the quote.
Right. Should I read it out loud?
Sure, read it out loud.
Service is the rent we each pay for living.
Okay. That's all together. Okay. Keep going.
It is not something to do in your spare time. It is the very purpose of life.
Let's make this one a little bit more dramatic. Okay. Now this time with speed, we're going to have super fast word groups.
Okay.
We're going to say that whole word group really fast. And then staccato slow. So when you're going super fast, I want your hand to go like this. Super fast. Say super fast.
Super fast.
Don't hit me though. Say super fast.
Super fast.
And then staccato slow. Go ahead.
Staccato slow.
Everybody do it with me now. Super
Super
fast. Staccato slow. And the change, the energy comes from when they're next to each other. Anybody know what causes thunderstorms? What causes thunderstorms? Very good. It's nothing more than change in pressure systems, a change in temperature. The more rapid the change, the more powerful the storm. The storm from your voice and presentation comes from the change. It's not the volume and the speed, it's the change in volume and speed that creates the energy, the crackle of power.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter which one you start with, but I want you to go back and forth between super fast and staccato slow.
Okay.
Give it a try. Now I want you guys to move your hands. So when she's going like this, you're going super fast. When she does staccato, you're doing staccato, and you do the same.
So do it the same way. Okay.
Yeah. Go.
Service is the rent we each pay.
All right, slow down. Is this your staccato?
Oh, yes.
You can start with either one. Is this staccato or fast?
Fast.
All right. So say service.
Service.
Faster.
Service
Good.
is the rent.
Is the rent we pay. Oh, sorry. You had it. You're right. You're right.
The rent.
Is the rent. And then what are you going to go to?
We each
We each.
pay for living.
And for living, is staccato slow or?
Staccato slow.
All right, why don't we start with staccato just to see how it sounds. Start with
Okay.
slow, go fast, and just go back and forth with your hands doing hers. Go.
Okay. Service is the rent we each pay for living.
Good. Now, what do you need in between? Anybody know how to drive a stick shift?
Yes.
When you drive a stick shift, what do you have to do before you change gears? What happens if you don't put the clutch in before you shift? Stalls or grinds. So for speaking, the pause is your clutch. Whenever you change anything, you need a pause. If you blow through it, you're going to grind. So
Okay.
let's put pauses. Service, how long should this pause be? Actually, you want longer pauses. Service. Right, look them in the eyes.
Okay.
Is the rent. And then go that. We each pay for living. Long pause. Now here's one more thing I want you to put in. Somewhere in the quote, and you're going to tell me where, I want a ridiculously long pause. Where you walk and make eye contact with the audience.
Okay.
Uncomfortably long. At least 2 or 3
Okay.
seconds. You tell me where you think it should be.
I would say right here.
All right? Let's make it like 6 beats, about 3
Oh,
seconds.
wow. Okay.
All right? So it is not, and this one we can get a little bit loud, right? It is not. When you want to make a word pop, pause right before and after that word. So let's put pause right before and after not, and that will make that pop. All right? And big long pause before the finish. All right? Give it a try. Same words and hands and your
Okay.
legs. Are they bolted to the floor?
No.
All right, so we're going to move around just a little bit here, create some energy in yourself,
Right.
and give it a try. I want you guys to close your eyes and just let her voice guide your hands. Go.
Service is the rent we each pay for living. It is not something to do in your spare time.
Look them in the eyes, walk.
It is the very purpose of life.
See the difference?
Yeah,
Now, you're a fast talker a little bit,
I am.
and fast talkers your whole life, everybody's told you to do what? You don't need to slow down.
No?
You need to use longer
Pauses.
pauses.
Okay.
There's a big difference. I'll show you. Have a seat.
Okay.
This is your water, right?
Yes,
And you like water, right?
I do.
You heard her say she likes water? Put your head back.
Oh no.
All the way back.
Really?
Yes, do you trust me? That's your first mistake. Put your head back. Eyes all the way back. Open your mouth.
Oh, now this is like a trust thing.
Yes, all the way back. Now, you said you like water, right?
Are you going to pour it on my face?
Do you trust me or
Okay,
not?
I do.
Okay, open it up. All the way. Turn back, all the way back. Now, can I pour it all at once or a little at a time is better? What do you think?
A little bit.
Do you want me to pour it or do you want to pour it yourself?
I'd rather pour it.
Why, do you have control issues?
I do.
When it comes to speed, every audience has control issues. When you pour too fast, what will they do?
I won't pay attention.
Right, the filters are going to come, it's just going to spill all over the place. It's not going to go in. So when you pour, what do you have to give them time to do?
Swallow.
To swallow. And the audience's eyes are always telling you when they've swallowed. If they're looking up or looking down, they're still processing. When they're looking back, they're ready. So the audience actually controls how long the pause is. But here's a hint. It needs to be twice as long as you think it is. And the more powerful the image, the longer it takes. Strongly, you can stand up again.
Okay.
You're not done. Strong language is when you paint pictures. So when you paint a picture, what do you have to give the paint time to do?
Dry.
What happens if you start painting the next picture before the last one's dry? Yeah, it all
Smear down.
smears.
Yeah.
So fast talkers, what do we need to do?
Pause.
Right. Give a great picture, let it dry. Pour a powerful message, let them swallow. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Third dimension we're going to do, you're looking at me funny, what's that face mean?
No, this is good.
Is body
I'm
language.
learning how to pause.
Right. Body language. This time I want you to deliver this quote to the room with no words, only body language. Find your inner Marcel Marceau, your mime, and kind of act it out each word at a time.
Okay.
Everybody watch her and just give it a try, see what happens.
Should I read it first, or?
That might help.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, give it a go. No words, just body language.
Can I do it to this, or do I have to do it to the?
Whatever you need.
Okay.
Great. Now I want you to do the exact same body language and layer in the words as well. Go.
Okay. Your living is determined not so much by what life brings to you, but by the attitude you bring to life. Not so much by what happens to you by way of your mind looks at what happens. I think I messed up on the words.
That's all right. You did great.
I was so focused on doing
Remember,
this.
55% of our total communication is body language. So sometimes we go, well, what do I do with my hands? What's the right thing? There's lots of tips and techniques, but the best one is just let your hands tell the same story as your words.
Right.
Do you remember the 60s bands that had background singers, the ladies in the back going doo-wop, doo-wop? Your words are like your lead singer. Very important. Your tone, which is your volume, speed, and pitch, is like your background singers. And your band is like your body language. For the song to be great, all three have to be what? In sync, in harmony. So when you just have excellent words, you're delivering a good message. But when your tone sends the same thing as your words, and your body language tells the same story as your words, it's double powerful, triple powerful. Triple bonus points in the video game. Bing, bing, bing. So here's what I want you to do. Two things about body language. First, each of us have different ways to say things with our body, more than one right answer. There's more than one right answer to many of life's questions. I'll prove it. Everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes. On the count of 3, I want you to say, no way, only with your hands. And freeze them in that same position. Ready? Keep your eyes closed. 1, 2, 3. No way! Open your eyes. Look around. Everybody has slightly different ways of saying no way. If you did it with the eyes open, or for those of you that peeked ahead, what happens? Right. One person will go 1/100th of a second before everybody else. The mirror neurons kick in and we copy them so fast. So there's more than one right way to say no way. There's more than one right way to say each thing. But you have to distinguish. So if this means yes, it cannot also mean no. So if you're using the same gesture over and over, the audience can't distinguish what that means. Move when you can. We paid for the whole room, so we want to use more of the room. Most people start with what I would call monospot, the boring cousin of monotone. Nothing wrong with it, that's simply where we are. The next level up is when they begin to pace. The caged tiger approach to speaking. When someone paces, who is it all about, by the way? Themselves. It's them and their words. Nothing wrong with that, but they're thinking about their thoughts. But it's better than monospot. The third level up is when you begin to circle the audience. and you go around, and you're seeing, and the advantage to circling is you create new angles for eye contact. You're lowering filters by creating energy, and you're moving the room. Make sense? The fourth and best level is where you move with purpose. You're moving to the audience, and that purpose has a movement. So if in my story there's a door to the future, where should I move to? To the door. If in my story someone said, my old boss sat me down and said 3 words to me I'll never forget, what should I do when I say that part of it?
Sit.
Sit in the chair. You let the whole room come alive, but there's a purpose for your movements. It's not random. Make sense? All right, let's put it all together. I'll give you a new quote, and when I flip it over, I'm going to give you a moment, and all I want this time is brilliance. I'm going to put all 3 dimensions
no
together. Let your brain happen. Don't get out of our own way and just let it flow. Okay. So I want you to, at some point in the quote, you get loud, give it a little oomph, and maybe whisper that key phrase or phrases.
Okay.
I want some places you go super fast, some staccato, slow. I want at least one ridiculously long pause.
Okay.
Where you do nothing but walk and make eye contact with the audience. And I want as much body language as you can infuse. Let your hands and your feet and face, half of all body language is in the face, tell the same story as your words. Okay. So once you see it, we'll give you 30 seconds. You can practice it in your head, practice out loud, and then put it all together and see something cool happen. When the first time she did a quote, she used about 5 to 15% of her range. Let's see how much she can do this time. Ready?
Okay.
I'll give you a minute to look. As she's doing it, let me ask you guys, who matters, you or the audience? It's all about the audience. So when we lose ourselves in our content and our audience, that's when our magic happens. We don't matter. What matters is our content and our audience, and that's when your greatness emerges. Before you start, Erica, I want you to ask yourself, do you believe this? Because of emotions, unless you believe it, we won't believe it.
I agree.
Unless you go to that place, we can't go to that place. Wherever you want to take an audience, emotionally, you have to go there first. Anger, excitement, passion, hope. You ready?
Okay. I am not an optimist. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same.
Round of applause. Very well done. Now, we have to become experts, so I want you to notice, 3 strokes of love to 1 stroke of challenge is a good ratio. So let's give her 3 things she did well. And think of everything we covered. What specifically did she do well?
The whisper at the end was perfect.
Whisper. Very effective. Good.
The staccato was great.
Where did she staccato? Do you remember?
At the very the first after the
Yeah.
first.
I am not. Very effective. Good. One more.
You described shine.
Yeah, you could see
Yeah.
shine.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, we've built her ego up enough. Let's bring her back down to earth. We care about her. We want her to keep improving. And what's one thing she could do to make it even better?
Not refer to the sign.
Yeah. In general, you never want to read your speeches. Obviously, she didn't have a choice here.
Right.
But in general, you don't want to read your speech to an audience. Why?
Because it doesn't seem authentic.
You don't have eye
It's all about who, if you read a speech.
You.
It's about you and your speech.
Yeah.
It becomes a barrier that blocks you from the audience. Here's a hint if you want a shortcut. You guys read any newspapers?
Yes.
What's a favorite newspaper you read?
The Times.
The Times. What do you read first, the headlines or the stories?
Headlines.
Why?
Because they jump out at you the first thing you see.
Very good. So if you want a shortcut, you just write the headlines on a piece of paper. Let's say there's 4 things you're going to cover. You put it on the corner of the table. And let's say after number 3, you lost your place, you got passionate, you're excited, that's what you want to do, but you can't remember where you are. You simply deflect. Erica, what do you think? And it only takes your brain about 1 second to get back on track. Once you see the headline, the story will fill itself in. Make sense? So it's not blocking me, but it's there if I really need it. The other thing she could have done, where was her long pause?
At the end.
And
How long was it?
maybe 3 beats, 4 beats.
So when you feel like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculously long, the audience feels like it's actually very short. When you feel like, oh my, I've left the canvas, it's over 100% of what's, I'm in the ridiculous silly area, the audience hears you coming into the 40–50% of your range. You have a lot more on the table. What's more enjoyable to listen to? Full expression of herself or the guarded one?
Full expression.
Why?
It's more believable when you.
Well, there's more energy and excitement.
Because you're calling that energy into yourself, you're spreading it, and then the audience catches it. Now sometimes we go, oh, this is really great, but these techniques are artificial, they're not natural. It's actually the opposite. Anybody have little kids here at home? Nieces and nephews?
Yes.
Have you ever been little yourselves? When you read stories to little kids, how do they like you to read them?
Animated.
Animated, loud, soft, fast, slow, characters, voices, and we can all do it.
Right.
You're alone in a car driving, there's nobody around. Great song comes on the radio. What do we all do?
Sing.
And how do we sing? Loudly, badly, or maybe well if you have a great voice. But we can all do it. Fast, slow, falsetto, we can do all of the range. When you're with our friends, when we're on the dance floor, when in certain social situations, family, we can be our full selves. Here's the insight. Grown-ups do not give you permission to be your full self. We don't mean to, but we subtly pressure each other to never deviate from the norm. My advice? Do it anyway. When you bust through that little bit of resistance and let your real personality emerge, which you did there, it's more enjoyable for them and more enjoyable for you. So yes, there's some techniques, but it's more around giving yourself permission to be your full self. Make sense? Any other, I'm going to ask you as our star, Erica, to give us closing thoughts. When you think about modulating your voice, what did you most learn from these exercises?
Oh, wow. The pausing. The pausing helps with how fast I speak.
Good.
And just the going up and down.
Great.
And that the importance of giving that one long pause to have them reflect on what you're about to say and take it in. I never do that.
You never do that, and one of the reasons is why we're uncomfortable with what?
Silence.
Let's turn that on its ear. Silence is the most powerful tool you will ever have as a speaker. The Quakers, and Gandhi has the same quote, say, never speak until you can improve upon the silence. Don't mess that silence up. Don't fill it up with that weak language. Let it breathe. And here's a little bit of advanced CEO secret as to why. When you're young, your job is to impress everybody. Impress the boss, impress the clients, impress the peers. That's your job. As you become more senior, it's not your job to impress everybody anymore. Now it's your job to be impressed. To let the audience guess some of the answers. Let them lean in. Let them experience it. And then you'll find your breakthroughs. This has been Voice Modulation. You did great.
Thanks.